The first story I'm going to tell y'all is about the time that I got ghosted by my best friend. So I was about 13. I went to the movies with my friends and we saw like some horror movie or some dumb shit. So back in this time, this was before you had unlimited text messaging. This was before you had unlimited minutes. This was before people could call you. I'm like after 9 o'clock, I mean. They had to call you after. Not like right now, not where you could just text unlimited. Like I had to pay as you go fucking broke ass Nokia. Like that was like one of my first phones. And so my mom was like, oh, you can go to the movies with your friends. So we went. You know how teenagers are. Like we used to just like be badasses. We would go into the fountains and literally like take fucking change out of the like water fountain. Like that was the cool thing to do. But this day was different, and this is when I was struggling with my sexuality. This is at a time when it wasn't acceptable to be gay. I came out in 2008. So if you think about that, that's 11 years ago. This is before they had any mainstream coverage. This was before they had shows like Pose, Glee, like any type of LGBT representation was very non-existent, especially when you were black. So imagine, I want you to put yourself in my shoes. I'm 13. I'm pretty much struggling with my sexuality because I'm attracted to women and I'm attracted to my best friend at this time. So I felt really uneasy talking about this subject because when this situation happened, I only told one of my friends. I always used to deny being gay in middle school up until about the end of 8th grade. So at this time, we're at the movie theater. And you know, like we're all having fun, and like I remember this night like it happened yesterday. It was raining that night, and it was just some like teenage love movie story, like how you see somebody and like you gaze at them, and you're like, I was like, I don't have any text messages left on my phone because, like I said, this is the time where there weren't unlimited text messages, there weren't unlimited minutes. So I literally typed out a message that I was gonna send my friend, telling her I was in love with my other friend. So it was raining that night. Like I kind of get chills thinking about it. It was and I remember texting it to her, and then all of a sudden I see somebody like peeking over my shoulder, and I thought he was on the other side of like our other friend group. So I didn't even pay attention that he was so interested in what I was showing my friend that he read the text message. So I'll never forget the text message. I told her, I said, hey, beep, I'm in love with beep. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. He read that text message, y'all, and he literally looked at me and was like, my mama's on the way, and hopped in the car and left. So at that time, I was like heartbroken. I was like, the guy that is my best friend, that is straight, is somebody that I ultimately like just exposed myself to say that I'm in love with them. So imagine at 13 how that feels. I remember going home and just being so distraught. Like, he didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. It was really difficult to go to school with somebody who knows you're like one of your biggest secrets and that you're one of the closest people to, because I really wasn't like this. So my best friend ghosted me. My best mom told him that I was a bad influence. Now, mind you guys, even though I'm a little asshole, I have straight A's. I'm like pretty much at the top of my class. I'm doing really well. And that situation wasn't the first time I got ghosted by him. He ended up talking to me like 2 weeks later, and it was kind of awkward. We never really addressed how I felt about him at that time, and it was very like, let's just sweep it under the rug. So high school comes along, and so we fast forward 2 years. So 2 years have gone by, and so I call my best friend at the time, and I tell him I'm in a relationship. I finally found someone that I thought was, the person for me. I tell him that, and he just says, oh wow, and completely stops talking to me. And at this point, you're probably asking yourself, like, why would you continue to, like, try to talk to somebody who clearly doesn't want to talk to you? And at that point, it was hard. It's really hard when you're really close with somebody that you're in love with. And I have run into that situation a couple of times to where it's just something that you don't plan on. Nobody wants to like their friend, and especially not their best friend, you know? We ended up reconnecting in college, and we talked for a while, and I wrote this very long love letter to him that I have never told him to this day. And that situation taught me that never run from your emotions. When you feel something, you should say it. And I think in my circumstance, I was so passive aggressive with it that I never addressed the elephant in the room, because I feel like I never want to make people uncomfortable, but sometimes you don't have to sacrifice yourself in order to make other people comfortable. And you need to be like accountable for what you did, because that probably was awkward to have your gay best friend say like, hey, we're 13, I'm kind of in love with you. Like that was a lot on him, and I was so angry, I was so bitter, I was so upset, and I just wanted him to, like, I would say, apologize for ghosting me. being ghosted is horrible. Everybody's done it. I've ghosted people. People have ghosted me. And, you know, I really want to tell this story for people who follow me, who want to kind of understand how I think. I know my YouTube is going to be a platform to where I'm going to give you my truth, what happened from my perspective, my lens. And I want to look back at this moment and look back at all of the next stories that I'm going to tell y'all and really sit back and reflect on like how much I have grown. It took a long time for me to love myself. I think at 25, I'm still finding myself like we all are. I never think that you do. But I've read a lot of self-help books and I've done a lot of self-searching. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I don't even, you know, even if you got to the end of this video, I appreciate that because this was a moment that I don't really talk about. Not a lot of people know about it. And the people that are in this story are still somewhat in my life. So anybody that's watching this, I want you to think about a time that you fell in love with somebody and they didn't reciprocate that, and how did that make you feel? Were you upset? Were you relieved? How do you process that? How do you process that pain? You know, how do you progress in your life? Because I'm assuming he's doing great in his life. I'm doing great in my life, and you know, as teenagers, you do a lot of stupid shit. And that was one of those things. Like, who the fuck texts their best friend and be like, "Hey, I'm in love with the person that's like right next to us"? Like, who does that? But my 13-year-old self did that. So, you know, it's crazy. This is a story time that I have been meaning to tell for years. I wanted to tell this story and come back to YouTube with this particular story because I worked on this story right before I stopped my YouTube channel. So I am back. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on all social media platforms at The Keenan Wayne on Instagram, Twitter. Also follow me on Snapchat. Thanks.